Hi everyone, thank you for joining today's Tech Talk. I'm Mayank Debnath, the head of developer advocacy at Vultr, and today we are joined with Liu Ayot, the manager of customer platform at Vultr. In today's Tech Talk, we are going to introduce you to the Vultr web app, which redefines the way you deploy, manage, and access your preferred applications all through the convenience of your web browser, leveraging the power of our cloud GPU servers.
Hey everyone, my name is Lou Ayot. I am an engineering manager at Vultr, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about the NVIDIA A16 and a couple of our streaming web apps. So the NVIDIA A16 gives us the power to do a virtual desktop infrastructure on our deployed servers. That allows you to utilize the power of the A16 for all of your GPU needs while also being able to access the virtual desktop and do everything. So you can run things like Blender from a Chromebook by accessing the server directly through a web browser. That'll be one of the demos I do today, as well as the broadcasting web app that we use, which is a pre-built version of the web app. It uses OBS Studio and allows you to stream from anywhere and use the A16's GPU power to do all the processing that it needs to do without having to worry about whatever device you're streaming from doing all that work. So with the A1600, it's going to be the lowest cost GPU that's available right now. We do have other GPUs available that are a little bit higher price points, but A16 has the power to do those things that I've described and do them in a really cheap way. Here's a couple of pictures of what that kind of looks like. And it's very easy to use, it's extremely easy to deploy on the Vultr infrastructure. I'll kind of show a little bit about that in a couple seconds here. And like I said, it's highly affordable. So all of our Vultr servers are available in 32 locations. The GPUs, the A16s are currently available in only 6 locations, and I'll show you those in a moment as well. And you can deploy any OS app or stack. You can also deploy using your own sort of script that sets your server up exactly how you want it for your GPU usage. Specifications, 4 by 16 gigabyte GDDR, 4 by 200 gigabytes per second memory bandwidth on those GPUs. And these are really good, high-powered GPUs. The lowest cost option available for deploying this GPU on a virtual host, 1/16 of the GPU usage will be $21.50 a month. Now, if you were to buy this GPU from a vendor right now, you're looking to spend $3,000 to $7,000 depending on who and what you're buying. So let's get into a little bit about what it looks like to deploy this. So I actually have these are the two things I'm going to demo, but on our dashboard, this is my.vultr.com, go to deploy new server, and then cloud GPU is what you want, and then you select the NVIDIA A16. These are the 6 locations that are available: New York, Silicon Valley, London, Frankfurt, Tokyo, and Bangalore. So I'm going to select New York because it's the closest to me regionally. For server images, you can select any image you want, but for this demo, we're going to do either the web app or the broadcaster. So we have Vultr web app and Vultr broadcaster. So you select the one you want, and like I said, the 1/16 GPU is going to be $21.50 per month. So that gives you a gigabyte of GPU RAM, 2 virtual CPUs, 4 gigs of regular RAM, a terabyte of bandwidth, and 50 gigabyte NVMe drive. You can go up a little bit more and get 1/8 or quarter, half, all the way up to a full GPU or even 8 GPUs. Oh, sorry, even 16 GPUs, which currently are not available right now in New York because we're sold out of that many. So for this demo, 1/16 is all we need for what we're doing here. You can really get away with a lot for a little money. And in your deployment infrastructure, you have backups enabled if you want. This is the customization that I was talking about. So enter the Ubuntu app repo thing you want to do. So for what my demo, I did Blender because I wanted to auto install Blender using that. And then I just gave it a username. You can also enter a bash install script. So this will run as part of the Cloud Init deploy process that we use. So when you deploy a new server, it can install whatever you want if these other things aren't suitable to your needs. Select your SSH key if you have one installed and give it a host name. Click the deploy and it should deploy the server in about 60 seconds, and then it processes any startup script stuff that you need. So there'll be additional stuff that's happening in the background, installing all the repos and stuff that you need. So like I said, the two things I want to talk about today are the web app with Blender installed and the Vultr broadcaster. So with the web app, like I said, you can deploy anything you want using the Ubuntu app repository or custom install scripts. It automatically has VNC integration, so you get the virtual desktop out of the box and the GPU 3D acceleration for the enhanced experience. So this is kind of what it'll look like when I'll show you my demo. And there's a bunch of just basic information about what this is and what it does. So let's get into this one real quick. So this has already been deployed. And I'm just going to click on it. Here I get all my web app details. So this is specific to this deployment. It has this IP, has the username I provided, and then a generic password that it generated for me. And then a bunch of other stuff that you can do, like you can enable or disable the cockpit control. You can set, if you have a domain name set up, you can use Let's Encrypt or your own SSL certificate if you want to do such a thing. But for this demo, we're just going to go basic HTTP. I'll open that, and it should already have me logged in. I should have remembered this. Okay, so this is Blender. This is Blender on a web app. This is how powerful this is. Like I said, if all you have is a Chromebook, you can't run Blender. You can't run any 3D processing software. But with the power of this, you can now run Blender in your web browser. So it's really responsive. I don't really know much about Blender, but let's see. We'll do a 2D animation here. Probably should have done a 3D animation. A little bit of latency because I'm recording and doing this at the same time. So my OBS software that I'm using to record is going to take away from it. Let's do a 3D. Okay. So again, oops. I'm not as familiar with Blender, but you could also do like some sort of CAD software, any sort of 3D stuff. So we'll do this, we'll scale this object up. So Blender is a 3D rendering software. A lot of game designers use Blender to do character design. You can do stuff with movies. Basically, you're making 3D objects, and you can do a bunch of stuff with them. We can rotate this. See on this axis here. Like I said, the power here is not only that you can do this without having the GPU, but you can do it so cheaply. You can basically have the power of the A16 for $21.50 for the month. And it bills, I'll show you here, it bills by the hour. So if you only needed to do something for a day, 8 hours or whatever, you're talking about, pennies on the dollar basically for a full GPU. So that basically sums up the web app, running Blender. Like I said, you can put whatever you want in there. You could do Gimp, you could do some other 3D software that you're used to. Pretty much anything that needs a GPU that you also need a virtual desktop for. That's what the web app is for. Another use case is the Vultr broadcaster, and this is really cool. So Vultr broadcaster is the web app with OBS Studio built in. It's just, the whole thing is just built in. It's built for somebody who wants to stream. It gives you the power of doing the rendering on the GPU, so you don't have to do it on your own computer. So what you can do is you could set up your own computer to stream to this broadcaster app. You're sending raw data if you have a good enough bandwidth or network connection. You send the raw data to the OBS thing. It does all the streaming, and then you can also have it send out to every single one of the possible streaming services. So you could have it set up to go to Twitch and TikTok and YouTube and whatever else all at the same time, and not have to worry about that overloading your own personal computer. It gives you the power of like a real pro streamer without having to purchase all the equipment and have it running on your desktop. So like I said, it's just OBS Studio that's on this virtual desktop, and I'll show you kind of quickly how this all works. So I've already implemented this Vultr broadcaster, and again, it's going to be the same thing. When we're in here, it gives you like the details of exactly what you need to do. So this is OBS Studio Web, and it gives me a password, and it should just let me log in. Same sort of stuff. Disable, enable cockpit. Set up let's encrypt, or use your own SSL certificate if you want, and whatever else you need to do. Okay, so I've already set up everything I need to do here. There's a VLC source. There's a document on how to do all this stuff. And then I'm going to show you on my phone. There is a app that I've downloaded called Streamlabs on my phone. So if I open Streamlabs and I click the Go Live button, see my cat there. It's going to ask me if I want to do camera or screen share. Click camera, and then I have a custom RTMP server set up here. So I select that. I have Vultr test in here, and I'm going to click go, and there it is. And now you can see it's also on this desktop app. So since my cat's right here, she wants to be famous. That's Veronica. And this is, this is live. I'm moving my hand. So this is capturing this. What I would do now that I have this source here is, I'd click the Start Streaming button to go to Twitch or whatever streaming software you want. Another app that we're not going to demo here that we have built in the marketplace is Owncast. So Owncast is like a Twitch replica, so you can have your very own Twitch-like interface that your customers or clients can go to and see your live stream. So again, this is there's more latency here, or a little bit more latency here, because I'm uploading to the system, and so my own network, I'm on Starlink, so I have latency issues with that kind of stuff. So it's taking a little bit longer to see me go back and forth, but it's pretty dang quick. So I'm just going to click stop on there and put my phone away, and so that stopped. So I'd have to also go and click stop stream here if I was done streaming here. And this is very easy to set up. Both of these are very easy to set up. We have great how-to documentation on setting up the just the generic web app marketplace application, and it tells you exactly what you need to do. A16 because it has the built-in virtual desktop. Setting up your user stuff, accessing what, using Blender or whatever else you want to do. And then also how to upload files easily using FTP if you need to. Because the VNC app has a special way of getting access to the files that are on the server, basically. And also a great documentation on the broadcaster. So with the broadcaster, what we did was we did the basic install out of the box. There's a couple other things we need to do because it's not the only, what I demoed isn't the only way to do what we did. But this help doc explains how to do what we did. So we don't have to worry about the FTP stuff for what I demoed, but it's there if you need to. We sent a camera over to OBS using our TMP. So you need to install the libnginx mod rtmp module for nginx, and then edit the nginx conf and add this little bit of code, run nginx t to test the config, and then restart nginx to get it. Also allow the rtmp port, that's the default port, which is listed here as well. Allow that through the firewall and reload the firewall. I downloaded Streamlabs, and then I set up Streamlabs to go to rtmp://192.16, or sorry, it wasn't this IP, it was this IP, because that's the public IP. So that my IP/OBS, and then for stream key, put whatever you want. The stream key needs to be like feed or something unique, but something specific to what you're doing. Also, this application OBS is what's telling this part of the URL. So OBS tells Nginx that's where it's listening to RTMP. This stream key is used for what Streamlabs is doing, basically. It's also what's happening over here for listening to that feed. So I used OBS Stream for my demo. So that's what I put in the Streamlabs app on my phone. And then add the OBS stream source, which is what I just showed you on OBS. And don't really need to do this for my needs, it's just basically describing like extra steps here. And then to start streaming, you would click on that Start Streaming button to go to Twitch or YouTube or TikTok or all of them, And then there's some stuff here about SSL, which wasn't really relevant to this demo. But what is relevant to this demo, and it's not something that we're going to demo specifically, but I did talk about OwnCast. So OwnCast is a self-hosted streaming application that's very similar to Twitch. There's a picture in here after all this stuff of setting it up. Basically, just follow these basic instructions to get it all set up, and you should be good. And this is the OwnCast admin. Tells you where the URL is that you're going to be streaming to and all that. Setting up stream keys so you know where to stream to, or where to pull from for your stream. And then what to set up in the broadcaster. That's the OBS broadcaster. And then basically you get content that looks just like this. So this is very stream-like. It's got a chat built in. It's got the video running. All the different options tells when you're live and setting up, SD, full HD, HD. All that stuff is just built into OwnCast. So like I said, it's very similar to Twitch in that way. So. Well, that pretty much sums it up. Again, this is the NVIDIA A16. It's high performance, low latency. Oh, and my cat stepped on my keyboard, excuse me. High performance, low latency, virtual desktop built in, allows you to run any GPU heavy application you need for $21 a month if you need to. You can go even cheaper than that if you use less than a month. If you need it for 8 hours, you need it for 24 hours. Experiment with it, and you can pay $1 for an hour or whatever the charge is. I don't know how much it goes down to, but if you look at my thing here, I've charged 12 cents, and I've had this particular one set up I think for like 2 hours, so maybe an hour and a half. So you can really test and get used to using GPU heavy applications without having to buy a $3,000 GPU.
Thank you everyone for joining today's Tech Talk. You can find the links to Vultr web app and the Vultr broadcaster in the description down below. I hope to see you in the next one.